Oh, hello. You're listening to episode 9 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby podcast, sponsored by I Spy Surveys, the go to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. What is on this episode, I hear you asking? Well, we are going to be checking in with the final pool stages of the Autumn Nations Cup. Who is going to finish on top and who will be languishing down at the bottom? We will also check out round 2 of the Gallagher Premiership. Who again is top of the tree? Who is unexpectedly doing well? And was it really defence optional this week? The Allianz Premier 15 will be our next port of call, how things are progressing in the ladies' game. We'll also check out the Tri-Nations game between Argentina and New Zealand. Have Argentina secured their second win against the All Blacks? We'll find out in the episode. Finally, we will check out the fantasy rugby, who's top of the tree, who is languishing in second. Just to give you a heads up, I am still in second place. And Ollie is here. He'll be here again, chatting through all those areas that I've just discussed. And he is going to be here, I'm happy to say, week in, week out, spreading his rugby knowledge to the masses. You're listening to the Top 2 Inches Rugby Podcast. So the Tri-Nations game between the All Blacks and Argentina, obviously we know that recently the Argentinians won their first game in their history against the All Blacks, and I guess we're hopeful that they were going to repeat the performance this time out. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for Argentina. They were literally crushed by the All Blacks, with the All Blacks basically securing the Tri-Nation series. Obviously, it had been a tough few weeks for the All Blacks with that defeat and poor kind of outings, but this was a muscular display from the All Blacks, and obviously have completely rewritten the poor defeat they had against Argentina a couple of weeks ago. Their line-out was flawless, to be fair, from the highlights that I saw. The scrum was ferocious, and they were literally just relentless at the breakdown. They controlled the territory, they controlled the tempo of the game. The back line was less fluent, I thought, for the Argentinians, and that kind of reflected obviously in the All Blacks' dominance in the game. They had poor decision making and just really didn't kind of look in the game. I do question actually whether, sadly, if it wasn't for some reasonably good scramble defence from the Pumas, we could have been looking at a lot higher defeat at the hands of the All Blacks. So what does this mean for Argentina? Well, obviously one win against the All Blacks, one draw against Australia, and this recent defeat. They go into this weekend's game against Australia. I guess they're going to be hoping to get a victory. You know, second place is no mean feat, especially given the recent history, of the lack of games, lack of preparation they might have had, and obviously the whole pandemic situation. I'm hopeful that Argentina can beat the Wallabies, but I just wonder if this tour is suddenly becoming a little bit too much for them. They've been away from Argentina for probably 3 or 4 months now, I'd imagine. And I think we possibly could be looking at an Australian victory, but I think it will be close. I would say probably Australia by 7 if I was going to make a prediction. Round 6 of the Allianz Premier 15s for the ladies had some interesting fixtures, and one that I thought might be a little bit more one-sided was the Exeter Chiefs game against Wasps. Wasps came out on top with a 24-14 victory. Obviously the internationals were back. Wasps welcomed back a few of the Red Roses, and obviously went down to Sandy Park. Half-time it was 14-all, but the Wasps team played well in the second half, with a lovely little chip behind the Chiefs defence by Ellie Kildunn. She collected the ball and crossed over the line for the third try. Good performance by Exeter, to be fair. Wasps are one of the better teams in the league, but it is unfortunately another defeat for the Exeter Chief Ladies. But with the Wasp team progressing nicely up the table. The next game that I had a little look at was Bristol Bears against Saracens. Again, a few of the Red Roses were back for the Saracens side. Saracens ran out victors over Bristol Bears 36-10, so it was quite a one-sided affair. Marley Packer was back in the team, so was Poppy Cleal. And at the break, they were a few tries up. It was 17-5 to Saracens. Saracens maul was very predominant in the game. Marley Packer actually muscled her way over at the line. The host did respond quite well at that point, though, with a try from Wales wing Jasmine Joyce, which finished off a lovely flowing attack from Bristol. But Saracens do keep their 100% record with a bonus point win on the road. Next game to look at was the game between Loughborough Lightning and Durham Sharks. This finished up with a 57-3 victory for Loughborough Lightning. Again, a host of internationals were back in the side, and I think although it was quite a one-sided affair, it does appear that Durham Sharks are kind of trying to keep the points below 100. So I'm still a little bit worried for Durham Sharks. They're yet to record a win, and obviously have suffered some significant defeats at the hands of the other teams. And again, we talked about this previously, the impact that has on morale within the team. It's going to be a long old season for them. The next game was between Gloucester Hartpury and Harlequins. Obviously, Harlequins went into the game top of the table, and they continue to be there. They ran out 22-5 winners against Gloucester. Another fantastic display by the Quins ladies. Again, Red Roses were back. Leanne Riley, actually she was sent to the sin bin, thinking about it, so that wasn't the best comeback for her. It was just a very Shauna Brown, Cocaine got, they were on the score sheets, and like I said, 6 rounds in, Harlequins remain top of the table without losing one game. Next game up, we had Sale Sharks against Worcester Warriors. Not such an impressive game here. Sale Sharks ran out 11-2, actually nilled Worcester Warrior ladies, to be fair. Obviously, they were bouncing back from their defeat last week against Gloucester. It's their first ever win in the Premier 15s. Katie Daly McLean put a brilliant crossfield kick which saw Alex Wallace break the deadlock and take a 5-0 lead at the break, and they closed out the game with the 11-point advantage. Lots of emotional scenes for their first win. Fair play to them. Obviously they're finding their footing in this league, and it's always good to record the first victory. So that was the roundup of the Allianz Premier 15 this week. We'll look to see what happens in round 7 next time. So we are back for 3 weeks running. My good friend Oliver is here. We are going to have a quick chat about round 2 of the Premiership, the Autumn Nations Cup, and obviously the fantasy rugby that we compete in so vigorously each week for bragging rights. How you doing, mate? Where are you? What's going on for you at the moment?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. A little bit tired today, can't lie. Early start with the kids again, but yeah. How about you?
Standard early starts, mate. I'm used to same really, but I'm out and about on the road today, mate, working. So I've just pulled into the services to have a little chat with you on your pod again.
Ah, fantastic, mate. I really do once again appreciate your dedication to getting involved with my little podcast. Anyway, I am very aware that we are short on time today. As we have said before, we are both very busy men. Let's crack on. I'm sure they don't want to hear us waffling too much.
Let's not mess around, mate. Yeah, let's
not mess around. Let's get down to business. Autumn Nations Cup. Let's start there. Did you get a chance to watch any ruggers this weekend in that respect? Because I remember last weekend it was a bit of a busy one, and it was only really highlights.
It was, unfortunately, similar weekend for me. I did get to watch a little bit more than the previous weekend, but still not as much as I would like. It's quite nice to just sit and watch rugby all weekend if we could, isn't it? But
it would. It would.
Yeah, I watched sort of parts of a couple of the games, and I've seen a bit of highlights, similar in the Premiership as well. But just overall with the rugby this weekend. But,
okay.
What about yourself? You probably just spent the whole day, didn't you? Saturday, yeah.
No, I watched the England game, and I didn't watch Scotland-France. I saw highlights, and it got to Georgia, and I was a little bit like, this is only going to go one way. I wasn't that interested, which sounds really bad, considering, obviously, we've not had much ruggers. But in respect of England, I just, even more so after this week, Eddie Jones is clearly, each week, he's targeted different things to kind of do in the games, I think. And I just thought, again, this weekend, it started off as a bit of a kick fest. Obviously, England prevailed. Wales, I didn't think offered that much. And England were just slightly better. It wasn't like a captivating game. I don't think any of them, like I said, the highlights of the Scotland-France game weren't particularly captivating. And I didn't even bother with the Georgia one. And like I said, when I saw the result, I was a bit like, I'm quite glad I didn't bother. Does that sound a bit harsh, or...?
No, I think, I would agree, mate. From what I've seen, there's not been much in the way of exciting rugby, has there, over the weekend? But from England's point of view, I guess it's another win. So that's the main thing, isn't it? And yeah, I didn't get to see the game in full, but from what I saw, I think, I'd agree with you. It looks like Eddie's obviously trying things, isn't he, rather than or focusing on certain areas of the game. But it's not the exciting bits yet, is it? I'm hoping he might maybe go for all guns a-blazing, a bit more attacking rugby next weekend. But
my understanding is that France will obviously be fielding pretty much a second team because of obviously the disagreements between the French Federation.
It's a shambles, isn't it? But I think that is the case, isn't it? It's going to be most of the sort of first team big names not there, isn't it, next weekend? But
yeah. And I just wonder if, in that respect, that Eddie might be a little bit more cautious, because ultimately it's going to be, England will have only seen them as a team against Scotland, and I just wonder if he'll be a bit more cautious rather than letting the shackles off and unleashing hell. If he will just maybe build the lead and then consider what's going on.
Yeah, possibly.
In the second half.
Possibly. I don't know, to be honest, mate. We'll have to suck it. I don't know if Eddie is cautious. Is he? Like, he just does what he wants to do, doesn't he? I'm hoping they're just going to go for it, and just we'll see some nice rugby. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does go a bit like you're saying, just sort of a bit edgy to start off with until they maybe build a bit of a lead and then let loose a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think also JJ's out this weekend, isn't he? So there's going to be a bit of a change in selection. Obviously, JJ on the wing, he's got a calf injury. Who do you think they could potentially bring in? Would you be thinking maybe a Thorley or is it Nathan Elby named in the?
No,
he hasn't, has he? Thorley definitely has.
What do you mean, into the squad or starting?
Well, either starting, or do you think it'll be a case of Anthony Watson comes on the wing, Daly stays at fullback?
I personally, I don't think he'll tinker too much. I think he'll just whack Watson on, because Watson came on against Wales, didn't he? So I reckon he'll just whack Watson on the wing and maybe Thorley on the bench or someone else. I don't know who else. Yeah, mate, he's brought him in, hasn't he? Coppin-Masiga, but
yeah. And he also brought in that Wasp lad who had a good weekend, old Barbary.
Yeah, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was unexpected.
But you don't know who. He'll send a few home again, won't he? On Thursday,
it's a 35 squad, isn't it? Then to drop to 25 on Thursday, I guess it's just about getting the lad in and getting him a bit of a taste of international, isn't it?
Yeah.
International training camps, which obviously Eddie seems to like to do. Just very quick, I don't know if you did notice, and I know you're not massively into social media. Obviously, there was a bit of an incident where it's alleged that old Ellis Genge stuck the nut on Thomas Francis. Old Andy Good was quite quick on Twitter with a video and showing what potentially did look like a headbutt. Ellis has obviously come out and said it wasn't a headbutt. There doesn't seem to be any kind of chat from Wales saying it was a headbutt. Nobody kind of reacted as if it was a headbutt. I just wondered if you've seen it and what your thoughts were.
I haven't seen it actually, mate. I did read about it, but I haven't actually seen the footage. But I don't know really, mate. Unless it depends, isn't it? Like rugby's rugby, and I think a lot of these, obviously, player welfare is important. But a lot of these rules are getting a little bit contact out of the sport, but it's a contact sport, isn't it? So
yeah.
I think if it's a fully sort of vindictive, intentional headbutt with the aim of hurting someone, that's something, isn't it? But
I think Genji's given him a bit of a shove, a bit of a diving shove, isn't he?
Is that what it is?
I think that's why people might have interpreted it was a bit of a headbutt. I mean, it did, to me, it looked like it could have been a little bit of a butt, but nobody reacted. You'd have thought like the Welsh boys would have piled in on top, and
yeah, if they didn't like it, they would have, wouldn't they?
Yeah, there wasn't any real reaction to it. Francis didn't seem to react, and he certainly didn't, show any kind of facial injuries. So I just wondered if it was a bit of sour grapes from the Welsh, because obviously Pivac's come out saying that he's going to make a complaint to World Rugby about the refereeing and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's just ridiculous, really, isn't it? I mean, it's not even a game that counts, is it? So,
no.
And
no, absolutely.
Would it really have made a difference on the result? I don't really know what Pivac's getting at there, but
well, I think old Dan Bigger was tackled in the air, and it would have, it was that. I think they got a turnover at that point, which then led to the try for England.
Yeah, Dan Bigger wouldn't be on the pitch if it was up to me, mate. His attitude on the pitch is horrendous. I think he's like a football player, isn't he, with the way he reacts and talks to the ref.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a class player, but I just think his attitude and the way he speaks to the referees is just it's not rugby. Yeah. It's not rugby.
No. Okay, so let's just move on to Scotland, France. I saw a bit of the highlights, and it looked like, was it France? No, Italy, France. Sorry, why am I saying Scotland? Oh my god.
It's going well. It's going well.
Yeah. Italy, France. Italy looked like they were in it until, well, not necessarily in it. I mean, they were kind of holding on in there until they got their yellow card, and then France kind of scored a couple of quick tries and kind of blew it away. But, the second string French back row looked really good. It looks like they've got some quality players in that second string team. Yeah,
definitely, mate. I mean, this actual game, I haven't hardly seen anything of, mate, but the result didn't surprise me, but so I didn't haven't been able to see the performances of the second string guys, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me. France have got a hell of a lot of strength and depth with talent, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely.
They're a dangerous nation if they can get it right over there, I think.
Yeah, and obviously Sean Edwards in defence, I think that's going to bring a bit of organisation and structure.
Exactly, yeah. That's one thing they've always missed, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And again, moving on, Ireland and Georgia, I think it finished 18-10 or 18-8.
Dull.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I just thought Ireland, like I said, I didn't see it. I don't even think I've seen highlights. I just read stuff. I just thought Ireland would have put in a better performance against Georgia. But I think Georgia scored quite a decent try. Ireland scored a decent try, but then it was potentially a forward pass, but it was let go. But yeah, just a bit boring, really.
Yeah, pretty dull. Agree, mate. I guess it's arguably Georgia's best performance of this Autumn Nations, isn't it? But then is that down to Ireland being so poor? But mate, it's interesting for next weekend, the final round, isn't it, as to how the results are going to go?
Well, yeah, because it's the final between obviously England, France, and then Scotland, Ireland. I think Scotland could beat Ireland.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That could be. Normally, you'd always sort of back Ireland at home, wouldn't you? But yeah, Scotland could pick that
Scotland
one.
Could do them. And Italy, Wales. I could see Italy potentially causing an upset over the Welsh as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah, agreed. I think it'll probably be Wales and Ireland wins, but you could just as easily see Scotland and Italy winning, though, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Fiji.
And I think Fiji, hopefully they just get a nice run out against Georgia to absolutely obliterate them.
That's the one to watch, mate. If you want to see some good rugby, I think they're going to be. They've been locked up in hotel, haven't they, for weeks? So they're going to be. I feel sorry for Georgia.
They're going to be chomping at the bit if they're allowed to play, aren't they?
Yeah, their back line is just unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. They are class, absolutely class. Okay, so let's move on to the Gallagher Premiership. Let's start Friday Night Lights. Sail away to Newcastle. Highlights from what I've seen, it was quite boring again. Quite dull. And certainly what I've read, that's the feeling and vibe that you're getting from all the other kind of pundits, that it wasn't the best game of rugby to an entertaining game.
Yeah.
And Newcastle were 10-0 up at half-time. Sale Sharks kind of got back into the game, but then Newcastle, Toby Flood is scoring a late try.
That was a cracking try.
And Newcastle, it was a really good try, to be fair. And Newcastle taking the points and the victory for their second win this season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a great deal more you can say other than I don't think Sale Sharks really kind of turned up. Again, it kind of looked like a little bit like game plan one of, big South Africans smashing people. Didn't quite work, and I didn't necessarily have a plan B.
Yeah, I agree with it. I actually watched pretty much that whole game and half wished I didn't, to be honest. But totally agree. It was a nothing game, really, wasn't it? Neither team were. Newcastle were the better team, but there was a lot of mistakes on both sides and no real continuity or whatever. And Sale really struggled to do anything. Faf de Klerk was well off his game.
He wasn't. He didn't play particularly well last week either.
No,
I don't think.
So I mean, it's fantastic for Newcastle. Is the main thing to take out of it, isn't it? 2 wins out of the first 2 games, and I don't know about Sale though. It's probably quite concerning for them. But
I think Sale will obviously still come good, but I think they just seem to need a plan B. That was what I kind of took away from the game.
They're going to need that pretty soon if they want to be serious top 4 contenders again, isn't it?
Yeah, and these are the type of games that the Friday nights away at Newcastle. Those are the kind of games you need to.
Yeah, 100%.
So that moves on to Saturday's game, Northampton against Harlequins. Literally, defence seems to be optional from both sides.
Yeah.
But Harlequins just had a little bit more flair in attack.
Yeah.
Or was it a case of Harlequins had more flair, or Saints' defence just literally didn't have a clue what to do? Because from what I saw, they just seemed like you can say that Saints scored 29 points, which is positive, but they conceded nearly 50, and it could have been a lot more. From what I saw, there just didn't seem to be any defence.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, mate, I'd say it's a bit of both, isn't it? The Saints' defence, you can't let in that many points with good defence, can you? So it's pretty poor defence. But to be fair to Harlequins, I thought their attacking performance in particular was outstanding. That's probably the best I've seen Harlequins play for a long time. So it could be quite interesting. They got some crack. Well, we know about their old timers, sort of Danny Kerr and Mike Brown, who both played probably the best games they played for Quins for quite a while. But then obviously the likes of Marcus Smith, who had an outstanding game, and
Don Brandt played well.
He did, yeah.
And Nathan Earl played well.
And they got the new centre. I can't remember his name. Is he South African?
Yeah.
And then Joe Marchand didn't play, but he's to come back as well. So that Nathan Earl got a couple of tries. It's a good back line they got, isn't it? If they can keep pulling out performances
definitely.
like that, they haven't got any worries this season.
No, I'd agree. So then again on Saturday, Bristol against Worcester. Half time it was 11-8 to the Bears, but the Bears ran out 30-13 victors. I quite like this game because there was a bit of a different side to Bristol. They scored some good mauling tries. They looked a bit more kind of grunty, that kind of like, a bit more of an all-round game rather than just out-and-out flair and pace.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously those elements were there, but I don't know, it just seemed a little bit more of a complete game from them. Yeah,
it was pretty solid, wasn't it? And again, a fairly second-string team again, wasn't it, overall? But a very good result. I think did we predict that one right? Bristol away?
Yeah, we did.
So we got one right.
We did. Yeah, did we not predict Harlequins?
No, we went Saints on that, I think.
Oh, and we went Sharks as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they were kind of upsets, weren't they? Certainly from our prediction.
Yeah, maybe. Do you know what? We definitely got the next one wrong. Gloucester 40, London Wasps 24. I mean, oh my Christ, Tri-City or what? Again, defence optional, really. I mean, Alfie Barbary obviously scored a try for Wasps. He looked really good, flanker come hooker. I was surprised because obviously week before Gloucester lost to Leicester. Wasps, only just snatched the win against Bristol. Have Wasps' momentum run out, do you think? Or do you just think it's a little blip and they'll come back? Or
I think I said when we were doing the pre-season predictions, wasn't it? I didn't think Wasps would be able to maintain the form that they had coming out of lockdown. It's just to do that for a whole season is nigh on impossible. There's not really any team that does that. Even Chiefs have up and downs, don't they? But although they're not looking like it at the moment. But so I just think it's just a dip. They'll get wins and they'll get plenty of wins and they'll get a few more losses, I think. But I think they might struggle to get to top four. But then you get a good run and they'll be up there again, won't they? So
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously last season after the restart, they won something ridiculous, like I don't know, 10 games or something on the trot.
Yeah, I think the other thing they with all the internationals on, I think they're suffering, although they haven't got that many. I think the players that they are missing are quite key to them. You've obviously got Launchbury. He makes a huge difference in their pack, doesn't he, with his experience and just he's a fantastic
general
he's a fantastic rugby brain, isn't he? But and then Robson, pretty key to them, isn't he? And Umaga didn't play either, did he?
No, he didn't. Not today. Not that game, no.
But I think they'll be right, mate. But it's not going to be plain sailing like they had at the end of last season, is it?
No, absolutely not. I think also it's very much a case of this is probably going to be quite a competitive season. Potentially apart from Exeter, who we'll move on to now. Obviously, Bath went to Sandy Park, and unfortunately were 21-3 down at half time, and went on to lose 40-3. I'm assuming you watched this game.
I think I watched basically the first half. I didn't watch the second half, but not because I was annoyed or anything.
Was that
just
because
family reasons? But I'm not. It doesn't bother me at all. Actually, that result. In all honesty, I wasn't expecting to go down there and win. I think I said to you last week that sadly a good result down there would be getting a losing bonus point, but nowhere near that.
Yeah, no. You did say that, to be fair.
But if you look at Chiefs, they went away to Quinn's first game and basically similar score. That was at 39-3 or something, wasn't it? I'd rather go to Sandy Park and chip that than to do it at the Rec or whatever. But
no, that's fair comment. I just think my expectation was Bath are quite forward dominated, quite if anybody was going to compete with them. I think I said this about last year as well, that Bath could compete physically with them.
I think Bath can, but they need their full strength pack and team to be able to compete with Chiefs. Yeah,
to do that. No, that's fair. That's a fair comment, mate. And obviously the final game, which I'm sure you'll enjoy chatting about, Leicester Tigers against London Irish. Again,
well, I predicted it, mate. So it's no surprise. I predicted that result, so it's no surprise.
Oh yes, you did, didn't you? I obviously backed Tigers after their fantastic win against
London Irish. Brought you
back
down to earth, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I thought Leicester's scrum looked quite good, and obviously their back row looked quite good. But
that's about it.
Maybe
defence was shocking.
I can be honest. Yeah, their defence wasn't great. Okay.
No, it's just it is what it is, mate. It's like great result last week and a tough game. It was a dull game, wasn't it? It wasn't another not very good quality game, was it? It was pretty poor rugby, but
no, it wasn't.
Good, like from the other side, London. Great result for London Irish to grind out that win, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in their first game at home in their new stadium, I think that was probably always on the cards. Really, it's one of those, isn't it? Written in the stars kind of scenario.
It's tough though, like you say. Other than Chiefs, it's going on the first two rounds. Anyone could go down, mate.
Yeah, anybody could be going. Unfortunately for you boys, you do sit at the bottom of the table.
There's only one way to go, mate. Only one way. Only way is up.
Only one way to go. The only way is up. Absolutely. So let's just do some predictions for round 3. Friday night we've got Bears against Saints.
Bears.
Only one way that's going. Unfortunately, the next one is probably only going one way. It's the Chiefs at Welford Road. Chiefs.
Yeah, you got to go Chiefs, haven't you? I actually think Tigers will probably give them a bit of a game, but I don't know how long they'll be able to last. The Chiefs are just massive, especially in the final quarter, aren't they? But Chiefs, Leicester might be able to keep it tight for the first half, sort of thing. But you can only see that really going Chiefs' way, can't you?
Yeah. Are we saying keep it under 50?
Well, going by your defence last week, I would say you'll struggle, but if you can keep it under the Quinn score, it'll be a good result, won't it? In fact, if you can score a try, be the first person to score against Chiefs, that'll be a good result.
Oh, God, yeah, don't even start with that. Bloody hell. Talk about defence. Okay, so moving on, the next game, Wasps Newcastle at the Rico. I think we might disagree on this one.
Well, I'm going to say it is going to be tight, but I think Wasps will nick it. Are you saying Newcastle?
Okay. I was agreeing that it's going to be tight, but yeah, I think it will be Newcastle. So
we shall see.
I don't know. I just think it'd be interesting. We shall see. Bath at Worcester. This could be quite an interesting one as well, really.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, if I'm honest.
I mean, no, Bath needs a win, but I could see Worcester being a bit of a banana skin.
What, another one? 3 in a row?
3 in a row, mate.
I say I am not looking forward to it. Worcester is a tough place to go to and could quite easily win that, especially with the run of form that Bath seems to have started in. But Bath kind of have to win it, so I'm backing my Bath boys.
Yeah, I think I'd be more confident if it was at the Rec, but I'm going to go.
Yeah, I thought you might.
No, genuinely not just because it's Bath. I think Worcester at home are a fish. So, next one, Sunday, London Irish Sharks.
Ooh,
Sharks away.
Do you know what? I'm going to go Irish.
Do you know what? I think I'm backing Irish as well. Don't know why. I just think they looked quite good against Leicester. I suppose anybody could look good against Leicester. But
yeah, I'm going to go Irish. But you did I think Taylor in a similar situation to Bath, aren't they? They kind of have to win that. So if they pull out a performance, then it'll be theirs. I'd actually like to see Irish win it. So I'm going to go Irish.
Yeah, I go Irish as well. Okay. And the final game on the Sunday, Gloucester Quins. Could this be Tri-City defence optional again, or do you think it would be a bit more of a torrid affair?
I don't know.
It's at Gloucester.
That is a tough call. That could, like you say, that could be quite a high scoring game. But interesting. Danny Sips didn't play, did he, last weekend?
No, it was the young lad.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so that could potentially look like it could be a good move for them. But I don't know. It depends.
I think that one might be too close.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I agree, and I'm going to go Gloucester just because of the home advantage, which is not as big an advantage as it is.
I think I would
with no fans, but
no. Don't forget, there should be some fans let back in on Saturday, shouldn't there?
Is it starting that quickly? Is it straight out of it? Is it okay?
I think so.
Yeah, long as
could be wrong.
Neither of those areas. I don't know if they're in tier 3 or whatever. That's the only reason not, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, I've just home advantage. Yeah. I'll say Gloucester, but it's going to be close.
And I'm going to go for Quins.
So I think we've agreed on 3 and different on 3 this week, is it?
We have, mate. We have indeed. Yeah, it's going to be good. And just to kind of wrap things up, because I do need to make a move. In terms of the fantasy rugby, you
steaming
are
ahead. Top of the.
Oh, mate, I wouldn't say steaming.
Every point counts, mate.
But you are, credit where it's due. It was a good weekend for you.
Well, actually, it wasn't a good scoring weekend overall, was it? Last weekend was far better, wasn't it?
Well, no. But yeah, I think from our perspective, for you've got about 30 points ahead now.
No, it's not, is it?
But overall, in the grand tournament, it wasn't a great week for either of us. We both dropped down the pecking order quite a bit.
Yeah. I think I'm only 15 points ahead, actually. I think I went 1 point more ahead than I was last week.
Oh, okay. I better look a bit more closely then and see what's what. So definitely a few more changes will have to be made this week. There's a few guys that haven't performed, and I think that needs to be looked at. So we shall see what happens Friday night when we make our selections.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I think just on the fantasy and the overall, it's just like other than Chiefs, every team seems to be up and down in form from week to week. First 2 weeks, isn't it? So there's no real consistency,
Absolutely.
is there?
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. We shall see. Well, listen, mate. Thanks once again for dropping in and giving your knowledge on rugby. It's much appreciated. I will look forward to next week's.
Thanks for having me again, mate.
No worries at all. Listen, take care, buddy, and I will speak.
Cool, mate. Good luck on the school run. Speak soon.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
See you soon.
Bye.
That was episode 9 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. What we're looking at next week, we'll be looking at the 3rd round of the Gallagher Premiership, checking on the ladies' game, the final Tri-Nation game between Australia and Argentina, and who took the title for the Autumn Nations Cup. That'll all be coming up in episode 10. There'll be a bit more banter, hopefully a little bit better banter from Ollie next week as he helps me review those, and we'll also check in again on our Fantasy Rugby League. So it just leaves me to say that this podcast is available on all good platforms such as Anchor, YouTube, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I am on Twitter at the Top 2 Inches RP, so if you would like to get in contact, please do ask any questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions on the episodes. You can also follow me on Twitter and pick up when the episodes are coming out, etc., and any other kind of stuff that I might feel is relevant to post. And it just leaves me to say, as again, this podcast is sponsored by iSpy Survey, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company in Exeter, Devon.